What's up? We are back with a new video. Instead of the couples progression series, just have to do different videos until I figure out how to do that from a distance instead of being up close. So in this video, we'll be going over the accuracy level of 5 different Yugitubers when it comes to the ban list predictions that they make. It's not just to be for one list, it's going to be for several. So we get to see the overall accuracy of each of their calls. So let's get right into it. Okay, to start things off, we'll go over the actual ban list for January 2020. It was a big one. So Forbidden, there's Ib, Harpor, Azathoth, Marastalio, Tempest, Colossus, Engage, Electromite, Brilliant Fusion. For limits, Lithosagem, Pot of Avarice, Nessie, Pank, Endymion, Card Demise, Diagram, Into the Void, Second Light, Red Reboot. For semis, there was Tour Guide, Mind Control, and Deep Sea Diva. For the unlimits, Morphing Jar number 2, Tribe Infecting Virus, Phantomites Rank Up, Lady Debug, Kagari, Book of Moon, Solemn Warning, Soul Drain, Dark Arm Dragon, and Perform Edge, Damage Juggler. So first on the list of Yugitubers to check which calls they made right is Simo. So let's just scroll over there and see. So he did not do very well. He got 3 cards right, spot on, and then he got 2 cards partial. So he got Tempest, Colossus, Engage, Dad, and Damage Juggler. His score for this ban list is 28.6%. Moving on to Team Samurai. He called way more wrong. So he got a little bit lower score than Simo. He got Dad, TIV, Book of Moon, Servant, Pot of Avarice, Lithosagem. Those are all right. Yeah, I missed calling the Servant of Endymion when I was saying the limited for the ban list. So he got 6 correct and then 1.5 partial points. So he's at 27.8. Moving on to Farfa. So Farfa did slightly better. He's one of the better scores here. He got the unlimits correct that he called. He got Deep Sea Diva correct, Pot of Avarice, Azathoth. So that brings him up to 46.4%. Now MST, I don't think they did bad on this one. Yeah, they did pretty good. All their limits that they called were right, just most of them were partials. They got most of their unlimits correct, so they got most of their forbiddens correct. So that makes them 46.66, rounds up to 46.7. On to Kali effects. So he had a pretty small list. He got Azathoth right, Dad and Juggler, those are all right, and then he got a couple partials. So he's got 44.4% for his calls. The winner for this ban list is MST by like 0.2%. So moving on to April. So to start things off with the April ban list. And also, only 3 of the 5 made a prediction video for this one. So it doesn't really make sense to include it in the overall total, but I do have a separate chart for these 3 that did it. So Forbidden, Steam the Cloak, Destrudo, Bulb, Moonlight Tiger, Spiral Master Plan, Limits, Dryden, ABC, TG, Toad, Trish, Instant Fusion, Zodiac Barrage, Jackalope, Tsuchinoko, and Mind Control. For semis, Malicious goes home to the semi-limited list, and Widow Anchor joins him there. Unlimits, Drone, Avarice, Deep Sea Diva, and Necroface. So let's see how well Team Samurai did. So they got Steam the Cloak right, Bulb, Tiger, Dryden, Librarian, and Trish. Those are all correct. So that brings them up to 35.3% for this call. He got a little bit better. MST, however, they got worse. They only are at 21.4% with their calls. Because they just got Deep Sea Diva, Instant Fusion, Toad, and Trish. And 1 partial. On to Kali effect. So he got Cloak, Instant Fusion, Diva, and then Avarice as a partial. So he's at 43.75% for this ban list. Moving on to September. So on the September ban list, the official one, They banned Block Dragon, Jet Synchron, and O-Lion. They limited Double Iris Magician, Rusty Bardiche, Call by the Grave, and Duster. They semied ABC, Seer, Graph, and Toad. They unlimited Gust Kraken, Makir the Destructor after his errata, Tour Guide, Pantheism, and Widow Anchor. So let's see how Simo did for this prediction. So we got Block Dragon correct. His unlimits are all right, except ABC was in the semis. Everything else is wrong though, so he's at 38.9% for this one. Better than last one. Team Samurai. They got Block Dragon, Jet, and O-Line right. They got all the bands right, except for everything wrong that they called. Double Iris, Tour Guide, Widow Anchor, those are all right. And then you have a bunch of partials. So he's at 36.95. You can just round that up to 36 or 37. On to Farfa. So literally every card that he said ended up on the ban list. He only called 5, and they were all on there. Just a couple partials made so he got 80% instead of a full 100% on his prediction. On to MST. This was their worst prediction. They just got Block Dragon and Jet Synchron right. Well, Jet Synchron is half right. Everything else is wrong. So they are at 16.7% for this one. That's the lowest score yet. To Cali. Alright, so he got 1 right and a couple partials. He got Pantheism, Jet Synchron, and Block Dragon. Those are all correct calls. Just a couple of them are in the wrong places. So he's at 33.3% for that. Now on to the December list. So the December list was not that big. They just banned Dragon Buster, Link Cross, and Smoke Grenade. No limits. They semied True King's Return. Then they unlimited all the cards that should have come off with Seer, Graph, Mind August, Dragon Buster, and then Totally Awesome. So let's start with Simo's calls. So he got all the bans right except he called LP, which was wrong. All of his limits are wrong, his semis are wrong, and all of his unlimits are right. So he's at 46.7. Moving on to Team Samurai. Let's see, he got all the bans right except for VFD, which was on this time, this ban list, not the last one. They got all of his unlimits correct except for Realized Darkness. So he's at 58.3% for this one. That's probably his best prediction yet. Alright, moving on to Farfa. So his was a little bit less accurate. He got all the bands correct except for the ones that he didn't. His limits are wrong, his semis are wrong, his unlimits are all correct except for Archfiend. So he's at 36.8% for the December 2020 ban list. On to MST. He got all 3 of the banned cards correct, except for the ones that he didn't. Limits wrong, semis wrong. Then he called all the unlimits correctly, except for Mind August. That one was kind of like a surprise from Konami. So he's at 25.9. On to Cali. See, he only got 2 of the 3 bans right. I don't know why he didn't call Link Cross. That was like an easy target. And then he got the unlimits correct except for Toad. He missed Toad. All of his limits and semis are wrong. That's kind of a recurring theme. He got 45.5% for the December list. Now on to the most recent one, the March 2021, this year. So for the actual ban list, we have Union Carrier, Zexal, and VFD banned. Limited Ben 10, no semis. They unlimited Destruction Sword, Firewall Dragon, Argent Chaos Force, Bardiche, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier, Ignister Prominence, and then True King's Return. So a lot of unlimits. Now the only card on the semi-limit list is Malicious, and that's the way it should be. So let's see Simo's calls. See, he got VFD correct, and he got True King's Return correct, and he got Firewall semi-correct. So he's at 25% because everything else he called was wrong. Moving on to Team Samurai. Got VFD right, Ben 10 right, and then Firewall and True King's Return right. Everything else is wrong. 36.4% for Team Samurai on the March 2021 ban list. On to Farfa. So he's got VFD right, Ben 10 right, Firewall Dragon is a correct call, but it's in the wrong place. So he's at 35.7. Basically everybody wanted VFD banned, so I mean, it's in everybody's prediction because VFD is a just asshole card. Moving on to MSD. So, of course, VFD, they got right, Ben 10 right, and then they got 3 of the unlimits correct, so they're also tied with SEMO. They got more correct than SEMO, it's just they called more things. So, I mean, you call more wrong things, you're going to lower your percentage. But moving on to Callie. He has 2 rights in the Forbidden, and then he has True King's Return in the Unlimited. He called LP. I think people should just stop calling LP because Konami's clearly not going to hit Dragon Link in any way, shape, or form. So he's got 38.9% for his final prediction as of now, until the next ban list, and then he'll have another prediction up, and then I'll make another video, and we'll see where we're at. Alright, so for the overall accuracy, the winner is Farfa with 49.73% overall accuracy. For the people who did the January, September, and December 2020 list, as well as the March 2021 list. And I feel like the only reason why he scored so high is that he got an 80% on the September list, so that was kind of, that was an easier one, because he only called 5 cards and he got 80%. But regardless of all that, he is the winner for the people who all did the same list. But for the people who did the April list as well, the winner of that is Callie Effect with a 41.18% overall accuracy. This one I don't think is going to count. I mean, maybe in the future I'll just like merge them together and just not care about people who skip lists every now and then. But I try to avoid that just so it's not like, oh, this person has like a lower accuracy, so that's going to favor them poorly. Like it's not going to be fair. So I separated them. Yeah. So in closing, Farfa is the most accurate, and Callie Effect is also the most accurate, depending on which side of things you want to look at. Either the ones who all did the same list, or the ones who did the April ban list as well. I don't really think it matters, because the ban list is never going to be exactly as somebody predicts it, because Konami's always going to do something random, or they might not even make a list based off of the summer list of 2020. But this was still fun to do. I'll probably do it again. So if you like the video, please like it and possibly subscribe, comment, do all that YouTube stuff. But that's it for now. See ya.